How about now?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Well, hi, everybody. Here I am, day one, completed days on the job. Uh, It's very encouraging to me that you're all meeting and having conversations like these. This is what makes it work. This is what our democracy is all about. Um, I've discussed a lot of issues today, and the collegiality and the respect and the calm in light of just everything Oneonta, the country and the world is going through. It's been very refreshing to me. So I just wanted to kick off by starting that. I have a couple other things I have to attend to later tonight, but I just wanted to get myself off and hopefully Oneonta to a good start and check in and say hi to everybody.
Well, we greatly appreciate you taking the time to check in with everybody. Just let me introduce some of the folks here for you.
Thank you.
One of our council members is Dave Risberger.
How you doing?
I did.
And our police chief, Douglas Brenner, is here.
Hi.
And Diane Jorgensen, who is the city health officer, and she's also a member of your college council.
Yes, hi, Diane. I think Kathy in my office is setting a time up for us to talk over the phone.
Great, thank you.
So do we have all the students that we're expecting? Do you know, Colleen?
I think you should go ahead. I think
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Mahem might wind up jumping on, but by all
Okay.
means, let's get started.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Olivia just texted me and said that she's in another meeting that she can't make it.
Okay.
Okay. To everyone who's here, thank you very much. This is being live streamed on YouTube, and it will be recorded so that people can watch it later. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time to put into this. I thought the last meeting we had, it's been a while, it's been about 3 weeks because of the holiday, but was very constructive. I want to thank those of you who helped support the creation of the scarecrows and the holiday decorations downtown. You know, sometimes the little things are the big things. And it may be just a little thing, building scarecrows downtown, but it's a big thing because it just connected people who live here with the students and gave them a common bond. And it just, it's money in the bank. It really goes a long ways to building relationships. So, I walked around and spoke with all of the students who were building scarecrows, and they were having a great time. And they really appreciate, everyone said, thank you for asking us to do this because we're having so much fun. A lot of them said they never built a scarecrow before in their life, so it was the first time. So I just really want to thank everybody for supporting that. Again, little things go a long ways. So thank you very much. So today, our guest is our Oneonta Chief of Police, Douglas Brenner. I think he's going to say a few words, and then he's going to answer questions. And then we'll go from there and see how it goes. So, Chief Brenner, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. What I really kind of wanted to talk about more than anything was how the department views gatherings and how we respond and handle those type of calls and complaints. As you know, we have a tip line, anonymous tip line, which can be used to report anything, well, basically anything. It was designed mostly for the COVID regulations when people feel they need to be reported and possibly for some action. This was established in August, I believe, and it was quite active the first couple of weeks. And it's kind of settled down a little bit now as it follows the general trend of what the outbreak we had here in the city. What we look for, we do get calls about gatherings, and they're mostly as they are related to house parties. For years, ever since I've been here, for years, we've gone to noise complaints and house parties, and we've handled them several different manners. But now with the COVID recommendations and the COVID regulations that are out there through the state and the city, we handle them at a little bit different. First off, when we go to a call of a party or a gathering that may have not only violations of the ordinance, of noise ordinance, we have to worry about if it's violating the rules on gatherings, of course. Also, we have to worry about our officers and their response. So, the officers always wear a mask whenever they're talking to anybody like that, and try to avoid close contact or confined space contact with anybody. We go to those gatherings and we, again, establish if there is something going on and if it violates any of our current city ordinances, such as noise. If it does, we try and get the host and we talk to them and we stop it. We break up the gathering and the party. If it looks like it's in a severe violation of the mandates, what we can do is use the instances of those violations to help justify the elements of the crime of something like criminal nuisance, which is causing a hazard to a large number of people. Well, large number of people now with the COVID gathering specifications can be, 10 if it's in a small area. So that's how it's changed, how the mandates have changed to support the actions that the police department can do. Now, we have had a few instances where we've issued noise tickets and we've referred those, if they were students, we've referred them to the college, and the college has taken some pretty good steps as far as their own internal disciplinary factors. We work very, very well with the Office of Community Standards. And mostly we found that, especially the last few weeks, we haven't really had a lot of problems in this area. We're seeing a slight uptick this past weekend, but I think it's just because it was a nice weekend, and we're keeping an eye on those places now. Now, as far as the masks go, as many people know, there's been talk of an ordinance within the city of Oneonta, and that's still ongoing, but has not been signed yet. So we really can't issue any tickets or summonses based on just not wearing a mask. We can use those as defined by the mandate into the as the elements in the penal law. There is also, I don't know if many people know about this, but there is a state hotline, for lack of a better word, where businesses can be referred to the state for violating the COVID mandates, which is things like too many people without wearing masks. If it's a restaurant or a bar, not following making people follow the rules of only a mask when you're sitting down, that sort of thing. Those are then from the state referred to the county, and then the county, if it's within the city of Oneonta, refers them to us and we follow up. When we investigate those, we respond, we talk to the owners, see if we observe any violations. If we do not observe any violations, we advise the owner. If we do, we can do a referral to the proper licensing agency through the state, whether it's the Department of Health, the State Liquor Authority, or I guess those are the two main ones, especially if it's a restaurant, or the licensing for retail licensing. We have had a few of those, and we have referred a few of those to the State Liquor Authority, who's taken a fairly strong stance, and they come down with fines and sometimes even a closing order. Most businesses, they don't want to do that at all because they're already scraping by. So they want to follow the rules on that. We've had pretty good cooperation from the business owners. Most of them, if we don't observe it, we talk to them, we let them know, and they either say, "Ooh, gee, I didn't know," or "That isn't what happened," or "We'll make sure we're a little more careful next time." And at times I will refer those back to the county. Mostly they're just happy to know that we've responded. We found that just about everybody in Oneonta wants to do the right thing. And we don't get a lot of pushback on any of these issues, really, at all. And I think that just goes to show how good everybody here really is, how much they want to help their neighbor, how much they're concerned about themselves and their neighbors. That makes our job, all of our jobs, a little bit easier, for sure. If anybody's any questions?
Chief, could you share the hotline numbers with us, the state number and the local tip line number?
Yeah, I don't have it right in front of me right now. Terry, if you're listening, can you pop that up on the screen there?
I'll place it in the chat. That way everybody has it, can refer back to it throughout the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any questions for the chief about laws in the city, enforcement, concerns, anything at all? He's here to answer your questions.
Chief, we really appreciate the ongoing communication between you and our university police office and student development. My understanding is that's been positive for quite some time, and thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's the easy part. You guys are real good to work with. I mean, we enjoy a real good relationship with everyone up there at the college. It's really, it just makes all our jobs easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I want to say a few words about the mask law. Right now, there's a public health law. New York State applies to all of New York State, that you have to wear a mask if you're going to be within 6 feet of another person, you know, other than somebody you live with. It's, you know, clearly that's very, very hard to control. If somebody's walking down Main Street by themselves, the law doesn't require that they wear a mask. On the other hand, technically, if they cross another person while they're walking within 6 feet, and our sidewalks aren't that wide, they're breaking the law. And that's, you know, really tough to enforce. So what makes the most sense is that, even though this isn't what the law says right now, is that if you're going to be in the business district, wear a mask all the time. You know, what the message we'd like to put out is, if you're going to come downtown, sooner or later, you're going to be within 6 feet of another person. The sidewalks are not that wide. Somebody's going to walk out of a car. Somebody's going to walk out of a store. And then all of a sudden, you're breaking the law because somebody walked in front of you. So this, you know, the law itself, you know, makes sense when you're in a store or in, you know, in a gathering, but it doesn't really make sense for sidewalks. So if you're going to be in the business district, we'd like to get the message out that the expectation is, even though it's not the law, the expectation is, if you're going to be in the business district, you know, wear a mask. I mean, that's what I do. You know, when I'm home, I go out at 6 o'clock in the morning to walk my dog. In my neighborhood, I don't wear a mask because it's easy for me. There's nobody around, and if there is, I can be on the other side of the street. On the other hand, if I go downtown, I wear a mask because there's more people around. So if we can get that message across, it helps a lot. You know, it keeps everybody safe, and it also, as we all know, wearing a mask is not about protecting yourself, it's about protecting others. So every time you wear a mask, you give out a message that you care. You know, wearing a mask says, I care about you. I care about other people. And, you know, and just seeing students put out that message when they're downtown that they care, you know, means a lot. So now I know there was some talk last time about doing some kind of a social media campaign or messaging campaign, or even downtown signage generated to catch people's attention and get the message out, maybe even in fun ways, you know, to attract people's attention. Has there been any follow-up on that, do you know?
Yes, so me and Olivia have been in communication with Carrie and Rebecca Harrington And we were working on kind of a social media campaign to start with. Rebecca Harrington has a lot of tweaks she wanted me to do to the first thing that we wanted to post. So that's still in the works a little bit, but it's pretty much finalized. It just kind of is like a little animation of hills, and then there's a person on one hill and a person on the other, and it says, it's easy to be 6 feet apart when you live in the city of the hills. So we thought that was like really cute. And then we also wanted to do signage for each local business, kind of tailoring it towards like the business that it is. So like for Latte Lounge, you wanted to say something, wanted to make a sign saying like, oh, wear a mask, it warms your face just like coffee warms your soul, or something like that. Just like little cheesy, like cute ways to like spread the word. And then we're also, Liv is making like, she made a poster to get the word out for a little competition with the students, saying that whoever, it's like a poster contest, and whoever wins the contest will put your poster out into the town, and it has to do with COVID safety measures as well.
Great. No, that does sound great. If we can, more of that we can do, the more effective it will be. And I know that, I'm not a big Facebook person, but I know that that's the way you reach people, through social media. So the more we can do, better it is. So any help that you need from us, on this, just let us know. We think it's a great thing that'll make a difference. So getting the word out. So just let us know if you need help from us. We will provide whatever assistance is needed.
Awesome.
Good. What were some of the other things to follow up on, Colleen, from our last meeting?
I have two others. One is that we delivered signs to, actually, I put my husband to work, who's retired, and he agreed to go deliver a bunch of signs to landlords around town. And also, excuse me, he gave some posters to Mark Drenick for all the businesses that just say, wear a mask before you enter. So we have those those are the boring signs. The students are going to come up with the good ones. So he delivered those today, so you should see those soon. The other thing I was working on was a landlord meeting with our safety officer on campus. And that was to happen last Thursday, and unfortunately had to be canceled. So that's rescheduled for this coming Thursday at 1 o'clock. So we're pleased. They've been very positive. They're interested. And I think it's a great start for us to have more contact with them. They've agreed to, if I have messaging and I send it to them, they've agreed to send it to all the off-campus students. That's never been the case in the past. So I'm excited about that.
Great, great. One of the, I think it was in this group that we spoke about an interest to get some students on our boards and commissions. I forget who brought that up. Was it somebody here?
Maham.
It was Maham.
Oh, that's right. Right. She's not here tonight. I don't know. I know that Kerry was trying to coordinate with her on that. I don't know where that is at. I haven't seen anything. Have we made any progress with identifying students with specific boards and commissions?
I think that she was reaching out to other students to see who was interested in what commission. And there was a lot of excitement around the idea of being able to serve that way. So stay tuned. I can reach out to her tomorrow and see what the status is and just shoot you an email.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great, because I thought that was a great idea.
It is.
And if students really want to do it, we would love to have them do it. Dave?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a fantastic idea. Gary, were we talking every one of our boards and commissions, or were there certain ones we were identifying? Like, how did you want to do it?
Anyone who has, the list is out there. And
I just wonder if there's anybody that wants to be on the plumbers
You know, if there is, they can be.
You never know.
So-
We might have
Right.
somebody.
So if there's interest, they can be. And we thought it'd be, you know, it would be like not an official appointment, so it would be like a ex officio member of the board, but, you know, they can participate in discussions and it'd be
I
a
think it
great
would be a
way.
very good feeder system for if the students stay in Oneonta
Yeah,
or they move on to wherever they go in life, to be more involved in the community. I think it's a great
yeah.
idea.
So, yeah, even if you want to be on the Plumbers Board, that's, if somebody's interested, good for them. Let them be on it. So, but no, I mean, there's the planning board, which is really, planning commission, I should say, you know, which, you know, that's very, very interesting. You know, what goes on there. And the zoning board of appeals, you know, which has to do with allowing certain types of things in certain neighborhoods is fascinating. There's the Commission on Community on Human Rights and Community Relations. You know, I think that would have a lot of interest to a lot of people. It's a great group of people. They try to be proactive and educational in bringing people together and fighting negativity and hate between different peoples, encouraging diversity. They're an excellent group. And we have the Parks and Recreation Commission, which I'm sure would be of interest. We have the Environmental Board, you know, who is proactive in ways the city can be greener. So there's a lot of things that I think would generate a lot of interest, and it would be great to have input from younger people on these things. Different perspective than we get from us old timers. So, was there anything else, Colleen, to follow up on? Or?
Give me a moment. Let me just skim through the notes quick and see if there's anything else that's outstanding.
You know, Mayor, if I can just make a quick comment about the masks, I've always told people that it really isn't too much to ask to put a mask on. It really is just courtesy and convenience, and it's not that big a deal. Just put it on. And I've always felt that way. You know, it's just the right thing to do, and it's an easy thing to do, and there's plenty of them available now. And this whole thing started, there was a little bit of a crush, but geez, you can get them designed and decorated and personalized and everything else. It's really just the right thing to do, and it's minimally inconvenient, very minimally. So that's what I always tell people.
Yeah, and someday you'll be telling your grandchildren about back in 2020. You're not going to believe this, but I had to wear a mask everywhere I went.
Yeah. Let's just hope they don't have to, and whatever.
That's right. Let's hope that they find that hard to believe.
Yeah, very true.
Mayor, the other thing
yeah, go ahead, Colleen.
The other thing I found on my list, if Dr. Chambers is still on, he may want to talk. He met with a few of the student members, and I think that had to do with changing some things on a website to make it easier for students to report issues and concerns. So if he's on, he'll jump in with that.
Right.
But that's
Okay.
another.
Dr. Chambers, are you there? You may be muted. We're not hearing you.
Hello, everyone.
There he is.
Okay, hear you now.
Yes, we developed a new COVID incident report form that we're presenting to Cabinet, not this upcoming Cabinet meeting, but the following Cabinet meeting for approval. And once the Cabinet has approved it, we will post it prominently on Oneonta's website, and it will give significant opportunities for both the campus community and the external community the opportunity to report incidents of violation of the code of conduct as it relates to COVID violations. So we were excited about being able to put this together, and we expect that it will be live within a couple of weeks at most.
Great. And
I think-
that'll be on the college website?
Yes, on the college website.
And Emma and Kevin, you were involved in that meeting, so do you have anything you wanted to add?
Dr. Chambers summed it up well, but basically the reporting form is, it's very similar to the existing Office of Community Standards incident report form, but this one is specific to COVID-19 related incidents so that it can be separate from that and can decrease the burden of COVID-19 related incidents going to that main form.
Great. Good, thank you. Diane, do you have anything that you want to share?
Well, I think you may be aware there's still some positivity in the community. And the numbers vary a bit because I think what's happening is the county is reporting cases to the campus who are then confirming that they are in fact students. So that there was a report from Friday saying that there had been 4 students positive, but looking at what's come out in the last week since from the health department, that number is how I see it 6. So again, the numbers are not perfect, but as best we can tell, there are clearly off-campus students in the Oneonta community who are testing positive, newly positive. So I think the message I'd like to convey is that we need to continue with all this positive reinforcement of wearing masks and distancing and not gathering, because we've done a tremendous job going from 700 to 6, but the fact is there's still presence in the community, and I think there's still reason to keep doing the good work that everyone's doing. So it's not 0, it's 6, or perhaps 5 or 4. It's just, but there's a low number that's present. And I had another thought too, and it just came to me just now, but there may be an opportunity if there's a student interested to work with the group of us that are doing the wastewater work, because that's a very interesting group of women from the university, Alex Scorchafava from the county health department, Greg Matisa, city engineer, and myself working with the people at Syracuse University and ESF that are just on the cutting edge of designing all this wastewater analysis that then and beginning to look at modeling to then be used to help direct us in terms of public health policy and messaging. So if there's a student or students that may be interested in either public health, epidemiology, biology, chemistry, it may be. There are really some interesting webinars around all this that have been created by the Syracuse University people that explain the science and the public health piece of it. So if you guys can think of a student or students that may be interested, you can connect them to me and I can involve them.
Great.
So that's my comments for today. Do people have questions for me?
Diane, I'll reach out to the department chairs in the sciences and ask them to, is there anything you can send me that would sort of describe what you just said and tell me when meetings are?
Yeah, I'll send you an email. And again, there's webinars that are, public that sort of describe the work. And I could see a student even, developing a research project around it. So,
Right.
yeah, I'll send that to you.
I'll also let Kathy Meeker know because she's constantly working with students that do the student research projects and presentations. She would know exactly which faculty would be interested.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah. Do you want me to just CC?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great.
Good. Students, any issues you want to bring up? Questions, issues?
Yes, Mayor Herzig, hello.
Hello, Kevin.
I wanted to speak briefly on the public hearing that's happening, I believe, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, as well as for the general public, given that it is a public hearing, how that meeting can be accessed to express an opinion regarding the law.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that, Kevin. It is on the city website and the city Facebook page is the link to get onto the meeting in order to be able to speak. If Carrie, are you listening in?
I am.
Okay. Can you help Kevin out exactly how to get the link and how we can pass that on to others?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Kevin, do you want to reach out to me or do you want me to just Mayor explain it? And then that way anybody listening is able to hear as well.
Yeah, verbal explanation suffice.
Okay. So we've posted the information both on our calendar and on our social media. It's also attached on the main city website under announcements, and it contains the link for someone to access the Zoom meeting that the council will be holding. We're going to be utilizing the waiting room format in Zoom, which means that when the public hearing is open, everybody will be admitted into the meeting. They will be given their allotted time to speak. Everyone will be heard. And then when the hearing is over, they'll be sent back to the waiting room. As always, our meetings are available on our YouTube page. So www.youtube.com/City of Oneonta. And also, in addition to that, any comments, if you don't feel comfortable, anybody out there speaking or wanting to come on camera to be heard, you always have the opportunity to send any email comments to the clerk's office, which you can do at cityinfo, CITYINFO, at oneonta.ny.us.
Fantastic.
You got it, Kevin?
Yes. For clarity, is this a live streamed meeting?
Yes, yes. But now let me clarify. Here's where confusion may be. If it's live streamed on YouTube, but if you watch it on YouTube, you cannot speak. If you want to speak at the public hearing, you have to use the link to get in by Zoom. So it's a Zoom meeting that is broadcast and live streamed on YouTube. So again, if you watch it on YouTube, you cannot speak and participate. But because it's a public hearing, the link to get on Zoom is made public. And if you want to speak, you have to use the Zoom link, not the YouTube link.
One step ahead of me. I was just about to ask that question for clarity, because I did know at one point when we did a control meeting that there were section of the YouTube that was trying to ask questions and wondering whether or not we could see the chat, which we cannot. So while I have my own opinions and will express them tomorrow night at that meeting, I would like to just come into question the direction we're going in with regards to where my friend Rachel Dobkin was working in positively promoting mask usage versus this law, which is more enforcing it, and just those seem like two parallel directions to go in. It's the same direction, it's just what's the technique, and I didn't know if you had any commentary on that.
Okay, everything is very confusing about these laws. Now, there's currently a public health law that requires wearing of masks throughout the state if you're going to be closer than 6 feet from another person, as well as if you're in a store, or a place of business. It also addresses gatherings, the size of gatherings, etc. That is New York State law, but it's a public health law. As such, it's hard for police to enforce because police don't generally deal with public health laws. They can't write a ticket for a public health law. So this city law is the exact same language as the public health law. It doesn't make any requirement that doesn't already exist on every person in the state of New York. But by making it a city law, the police can enforce it by writing a ticket. So that's the rationale behind it. Now, I will tell you that it already passed by the council by the narrowest margin, 5 votes out of 8. And the reason for the hearing is it doesn't become law until I sign it, and I have the option of vetoing it. So I'm required to have a hearing to let people speak before I make my decision. I have not made my decision yet as to what I'm going to do. And one of the concerns I have is that it's a little, just like the current law, it's a little tricky to enforce when people are 6 feet away from another person. If you're walking down the street by yourself without a mask, you're not breaking the law. But if somebody steps out of a car and you crosses your path, now all of a sudden you're breaking the law. That's a little weird. So my feeling is it would make more sense to require masks at all times if you are in our business districts. Because when you're in a business district, the chances are you can't control always being spaced from another person. Well, if you're in a residential neighborhood, it's pretty easy to stay 6 feet away from other people. So I would actually prefer to see a law that to me made more sense and could have a bigger impact. One that requires masks at all times if you're in a business district. And it's also a lot easier for the police to enforce because it's obvious. If you're walking down a business district without a mask, you're not doing the right thing. The current, you're doing the right thing unless somebody crosses your path, it's a little tough to enforce. So I'm not 100% sure I support this law, but I will make the decision after the public hearing. But I welcome your comments on it, either at the public hearing or even hearing what your thoughts on it right now.
So I know the main concern that I have and have heard from others is with regard to the enforcement in a private realm, specifically a household.
Yeah. Right.
Obviously, I wholeheartedly agree with you that in public, even I agree with you in the business district that I would like to see an ability for something like this to be enforced. I haven't read or haven't been able to find the specific language of I don't know if I found the exact law that you're referring to. And so I'm almost in support. I'm just hesitant as to make sure it is not overreaching to an extent that I don't think is really fair.
No, I get that, Kevin, and that's a concern that you hear from a lot of people, that once you start talking about what people can do in their own home, you're getting into an area that none of us like to get into. The truth is that the current state law says that if you have people in your home that don't normally live there and they can't stay 6 feet apart, they must wear a mask. That is New York State law right now. Now, of course, how do you enforce that? Well,
right.
That's very tricky, but that is New York State law right now. And the rationale behind it is not so much if you have some friends over. It's when people have a big party in their house. You know, if you invite 30, 40, 50 people over to your house, it's in, with those, that, I mean, let's face it, that's where the spreading takes place. When somebody does that, when somebody has, whether it's in your house or in the White House, I mean, that's where the spreading takes place. You invite a bunch of people over without masks for a get together. So that's the intent of it. You know, it does make people uncomfortable when you start passing laws about what you can do in your own home. And it does create a question of how it's going to be enforced. I think the intent is well-meaning. It's not, the intent is not if you're having a few friends over, what you do, but the intent is to prevent people from having so many people over in their house without wearing masks that they can't stay far apart, because that's where the real danger is for spreading, as we have learned ourselves here in Oneonta.
I'll play devil's advocate for a second and obviously say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but I completely understand where you're coming from.
I hear you, Kevin, and you know, it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. But then again, everything about this pandemic is difficult and confusing and sometimes contradictory. You know, we're going down a road we never went down before. So, you know, it's tough to figure out how to keep everybody safe and yet be fair to everybody and protect everybody's rights, because we've never done this before.
I appreciate your efforts and you thinking through everything. I look forward to seeing you at the public meeting to clarify. It's at 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, we welcome you, you know, to comment. And again, as was stated, I think Carrie stated, if somebody wants to send an email in, you can send an email to the city clerk. She gave I think it was cityinfo@oneonta.ny.us. You could certainly get it on the website. If you don't want to log on or can't log on and make a public comment, you can send an email in and it will be, the clerk will read it during the public hearing. So that's okay as well. Anybody else? Okay, then I think we'll log off for tonight. We're going to meet again in 2 weeks, 7 o'clock on Monday. I don't have the date in front of me. And what do you think about having our transportation director attend? David Hotailing, he's in charge of all the bus service. You know, buses were a big controversy earlier in the semester. The transportation is essential, but it also can be dangerous if you pile 50 people, you know, on a bus. So it's be an opportunity for him to talk to you and to listen to some of the needs of the students for transportation and ways we, you know, what's important is we work out providing the transportation that is needed, while not also facilitating transportation to parties and bars, and also not have buses that are overcrowded. And plus, to be honest with you, it's hard for our driver to control how many people get on the bus or control behaviors on the bus. Most of our drivers are over 70 years old on top of that, so they're very sensitive about exposure. So, but we want to also make sure to provide all of the essential transportation that is needed. So I thought maybe we would ask David Hotailing to join us so we can engage in a conversation about transportation with him. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to say thank you for everybody, not just for being here, but things have been going well. We've, had, not a big uptick in positive cases. Of course, we don't want to see one, but, we have to be realistic. There's always going to be a little bit of spread. But the police chief has pointed out that for the last 6 weeks, or at least 4 weeks, weekends have been quiet, nights have been quiet. We're not getting complaints from neighbors. We're not having parties. I'm not hearing, look, I think we've gotten through the worst. I appreciate the efforts that are being done now to kind of rebuild the positive relationships. And, I think we're going in the right direction. And I really appreciate all that everybody is doing to help us get there.
Mayor, I checked the date for you, and if I think in 2 weeks it will be November 2nd. Meeting will be at 7 p.m.
No, okay, yes, Monday,
That right?
November 2nd. Yeah,
Agenda, transportation.
yes,
Okey-doke.
perfect. Okay, I think we have more students signed up than we have here tonight, so hopefully we can get, if some are no longer able to attend and you want to assign some new students, that's fine too. It'd be good to have good representation. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you're enjoying the fall foliage. It's quite beautiful this year.
It is.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
good night, everybody.